So hello everybody and welcome back to Minecraft and to another 100 days Minecraft Hardcore survival challenge. And this time I thought I'd challenge myself to doing 100 days in Minecraft Hardcore in caves only world. The rules are simple. I must stay below ground like some sort of vampire sewer rat and I could never see the light again. This meant I had to find things like wood, seeds and animals all below ground, making this challenge especially hard. Technically though, these things are possible below ground. You just have to look for them or be lucky enough to stumble across them. So this is 100 days in Minecraft Hardcore in a caves only world. Let's do it. Well, here we go guys in our beautiful new Minecraft world, and you can see I am actually above the surface. And yeah, I just want to take one last look at the beautiful sky before I delve deep into the earth and never return. But yeah, more seriously, I didn't know how to make a cave only world. This is one of my first times playing Java. And I got a little mod that allows me to use controller. Anyway, let's dig directly down. Break number 1 rule of Minecraft: never dig down. But hopefully I should stumble across a cave and not dig all the way to bedrock. Eventually, after digging for an eternity, I fell into a cave. And what would you know? It just so happened to be one of these caves with the hanging glowing fruit stuff. That was good going. And luckily there were no mobs around me immediately. This meant I had a source of food straight away, but it wasn't good. You would on the surface, a dirt base, but this would be made out of bush, because straight away what was coming my way was a zombie. First customer of the day. This took quite a long time to kill him by hand, but it was the only thing I could do for now, as before I could make any tools I would need to find wood. That can only be found in really a couple of places. One would be a underground mine, of course, an abandoned mine. Or I could maybe try and find a tree if I could find a trials chamber, but I don't really want to go in one of those. So I went around for ages collecting as many berries as I could, but this would also get rid of the light, which wouldn't be a particularly good thing. I then decided to see if I could dig down further and try and find a better cave, because this cave was pretty cramped and there were so many mobs. I didn't really know where to go. And then I fell down into a much bigger cave, which was much more lit. I went further down into the cave, but I could not believe it. Sweet Jesus.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
There was an abandoned mine shaft under here, which is just what the doctor ordered. I mean, I could not do anything without wood. I'll be surviving in the shadows while the mobs chased me around for days and days before I found any wood. I mean, what the hell, this was just pot luck. And I went down, had a little look around. There was quite a few mobs, but I had to make myself a temporary base just to get it set up initially and try and block off all entrances to where I were, so no mobs could get to me, so I could quickly make myself some tools. So I began mining all the wood in sight, of course, like my life depended on it. Well, kind of because it did. So I made myself a crafting table, and then tried mining the wood below me, but it fell, and the mobs below acted like sharks who grabbed a bit of wood. And then made myself a wooden pickaxe and began digging some deep slate. I didn't even think the wooden pickaxe could do it, but it did, which was good. And I made myself a stone axe.
Hi, how are you?
I then had a little visitor who luckily could not get to me. Made myself a stone pickaxe. And got some iron, which was conveniently in this little cave too. Made myself a little furnace and got the wooden fences, which I would use as my fuel to cook the iron. And then I made myself a little iron helmet, just because I wanted a bit of armour at least. I made my way deeper into the mine shaft so I could then get some more wood as well. Came across another zombie who was kind enough to actually drop me a block of iron. What a nice guy. There was a lot of commotion going on in the next room, a lot of zombies moaning. I mined through to see what was going on, and this happened.
FBI, open up!
Oh my god, no! What the hell? There's bloody baby zombies! Oh my god! Okay. Oh, thank God for that. My God, I went full panic mode. After that, I decided to make the good decision of exploring the other way in the mine shaft, which hopefully wouldn't be so dangerous. I then got myself some more deep slate because I had to set up another room. Found some diamonds, but I couldn't mine them, of course, yet. Because my last room was compromised. There were zombies in there. So I had to set up another little base here. I found loads more wood, which was great, and some more iron too. So I could start making some more iron armor and iron tools. First thing, of course, I made an iron pickaxe so I could get the diamonds. And I already had some diamonds this early in the game on day 2.
Wow.
And I found some more as well, which I got. And then I made a diamond sword straight away.
Wow.
First sword I made was a diamond sword, wow. Got rid of this spider spawner because I didn't want that creeping up on me. The only problem was I had to be careful because I was running out of food, so I decided to make some sort of farm with these glowberries, which would take a long time to even get my fruits of my labour, but it was the only thing I could do. And I made a shield because that was going to be a very useful tool in surviving down here. I made a bed, which luckily I could do out of the string I found. Found some gold, I thought I might as well get that. And then started getting rid of some of these bushes so I could find seeds, which was also really cool because that means I could grow some wheat underground. As long as I had some light and water, I'll be fine. Decided to get rid of all of this grass and see how many seeds I could get. I only needed a few, and then I could really start making my own farm. And someone came out of the shadows and tried to kill me, but I destroyed him with my diamond sword, luckily. I then decided to go into the broken quarantine zone, and luckily the baby zombies had despawned, I think, or were they hiding somewhere, who knows. And then I found out the source. It was a spawner, of course. Placed a torch in there so no more zombies could spawn, and I was feeling a bit more confident now, and I established myself a bit, but there was plenty of zombies down here still I had to take out. I didn't want them creeping up on me. I mean, there was quite a few. And then I found my first skeleton. It was a bit annoying, but thanks to the shield I could take him out easily. I was getting a few glowberries out of my little farm, but it was hardly worth it. I mean, they didn't really give me much food. Decided to cook some more iron, get some more wood, get rid of all the wood around my little base, make some iron pants, make some iron shoes, and now all I needed was an iron chest plate. I decided to descend to the bottom of the cave, but there was a whole army waiting for me. But luckily, one of them made a stupid mistake and blew half the others up. Luckily, I could take out the stragglers with ease, because there wasn't that many, to be honest, but they kept coming out of the shadows. But they were no match for me. No one is. I'm unstoppable. Don't get that cocky. And then proceeded to get some of the ores, but I got shot by a skeleton, and this was a fierce battle. A battle that I almost came close to losing. Luckily, I was triumphant. I then cooked some logs so I could get some charcoal. Thanks to you guys for the tip in the last video, somehow I didn't know that you could use logs to make charcoal, and I've been playing Minecraft since 2010. There were still plenty more mobs down here though, so I had to get around the place and start placing some torches because the glowberries would not reach to the bottom, and that's when they all spawned. But this was quite a big cave, and soon ran out of torches again before I could even light up the whole thing. And then I got bombarded by some zombies, but I was running low on food. That wasn't the problem protecting myself, it was food. We had 6 glowberries left. Luckily there was loads of glowberries, but they were quite high up. Found some more diamonds, which was good. Got attacked by another skeleton and proceeded to place some more torches around the cave and found some more diamonds. I mean, wow, there were so many diamonds around here, which was good. And that's the good thing about being in this cave and it being so deep. I had easy sourced diamonds straight away. I then went up to my little base and got some glowberries, and then made some more torches with some charcoal, and luckily there was loads of logs around here. I mean, a surplus supply of wood. Then I got double teamed by 2 creepers, but it worked out quite well because one of them took out the other. Found some more diamonds, and then I found out I was in a slime biome.
My name's Jeff.
Big old fat slime spawned in, but I took the slimy bastard out of ease. Decided to get some more glowberries, but I didn't want to mine too many because it really did light up the cave and make it look kind of beautiful, to be honest with you. I decided to go into the other cave and see what was going on in there, but I wasn't very welcome. This is where I decided to get most of my glowberries from in this cave. And I returned back to my cave, which was pretty lit up at this point, looking pretty nice. I then decided to mine up to where my little temporary base was, instead of climbing the water, because things kept spawning above me. These bloody little skeletons. And they were doing some damage, so I had to knock them both off. I then decided to mine away all of this abandoned mine shaft. I mean, it went right into the cave and it was pretty cool, but I had a grand idea in my head for what my house wanted to look like. And it didn't have anything to do with the abandoned mine shaft, unfortunately, because of course I only have limited wood and most of it was used in this mine shaft, which unfortunately I had to get rid of to get more wood. Thankfully there was loads here, because the mine shaft didn't go very deep inside the cave. It was mostly just this bit that stuck out. So I took the next few days gradually taking apart, and I invested into a diamond axe, which sped things up because there was a hell of a lot of wood here, and it was like mining a whole forest of all these logs. I was thinking this run would be full of me just struggling to get wood and just surviving in the shadows, as I said, but no, I was lucky for once, and yeah, got a really good seed here. Eventually I managed to get rid of most of the mine shaft. I would leave the other bit because it looked kind of cool coming into the cave like that. I then decided to do some fishing, try my luck with that, which was very time consuming. I mean, it took ages before a fish would even bite. But it was the only choice I really had at the moment because I didn't have any dirt to set up my farm. That was the main problem. And then I found this brick. It was tough brick, and I mined through, and it just so happened to be a trials chamber.
Wow.
What are the odds of this? I mean, it's right here in my spawn. This is unbelievable. But I thought this was perfect. I don't have to make my own bricks. I can just mine them. And I decided then that I would use the materials from the trial chamber to make my house. Mainly out of the tough bricks and copper. Because I think copper looks really cool in Minecraft, so I'm going to use that to build my house. I started off building it, but I wasn't happy with the initial foundation, and then I decided to change my mind to make it into a more of a blocky build. But what I was going to go for with this build is sort of like an ancient Forerunner build, like from Halo. Because I'm a really big fan of Halo, and I don't know, I just love the Forerunner aesthetic. But it's also like one of those ancient caves you found in Skyrim with the steam monsters. I can't remember the name of it. But I was going for that sort of vibe as well. I wanted it to look really like an ancient society under here. So now it's time to start work on my pillars. Now these would be the foundations of my base, and I had this grand scheme in mind. But I needed a lot of tough, so I had to go back to the trial chamber to get a bit more tough. Yeah, this wouldn't be the first time I'd come back here, certainly not. And but I was going to need a lot of this stuff. I mean, a lot. It was a bit of an optimistic project, to be honest with you. Got a bit out of hand. Anyway, a bit more tough gathered, and I went back to the base to start building up the pillars a bit more. That was looking pretty cool, and I decided to cap it there, and this will be my main floor. I wanted to be elevated off the ground a bit, because we're in a cave, I didn't really want any mobs sneaking up on me. So if I had it above the ground, then I'd have a better chance of yeah, being a bit more safe. So that was looking pretty cool. I joined those two front pillars together, and then I decided to join the two rear pillars to the front ones. There'd be a walkway all around the top of it. But then I was rudely attacked by a skeleton, and then a creeper came along as well.
Hello there.
Me and the skeleton briefly had a little bit of fun when we played Piggy in the middle with the creeper. But he did almost kill me, this skeleton. So I had to take him out, unfortunately. I then decided to make myself a diamond chest plate. I went back to the trial chamber so I could get some more tough again. After that I decided to get a bit more copper. I honestly underestimated how much of the stuff I was going to need. Went back to the base and continued building my little walkway around the top of the pillars. The foundation was coming together now, and I decided to put down my first block of copper. I also underestimated how much of this I was going to need. So I had to go back into the trial chamber again, but this time there was some zombies giving me a bit of trouble. I must have activated one of the things, which I did, and I decided to block it up and make sure none of them came out and attacked me when I wasn't expecting it. So I decided to mine some of the tuff behind the walls, but there was a leakage. Clean dodge, and I managed to defeat him. So I continued mining away at the tuff and snuck into the trial chamber again to get a bit more copper. Activated one of them and decided to get out of there. Got a bit more tuff, went back to the base and continued working on the walk around the top of the base. And then started work on the next section of the pillars, as there will be another 4 pillars that go further up. I then decided I'd put some copper right through the middle of the base because I had some sort of cool design in mind, and you want to stick around and see that because it's pretty sick. I then discovered the grim reality of these waterfalls. There was a bunch of dead Nemos, but the good thing is about it that they were free food. Speaking of food though, I decided now that would be the time to try and find some dirt so I could finally start my little farm. And I've seen some on the roof, so I headed up further into the cave and found myself some coal, which is always good. You can't really find coal in Deep Slate. I then found some lapis, got that for later on in the game. Found a bit more coal, didn't find any dirt up there, so I decided to head deeper up into the cave and managed to find a bit more iron up here. But I also found some dirt.
Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for!
So I could finally start on my farm. I had the perfect spot for it. I was going to use this lava pit here for some natural light to grow the crops. Genius, I know. I ran out of dirt blocks, but I had enough space to start a little modest sized farm. So I got some water and placed my crops down. But I needed some more seeds, so I decided to go and destroy all these bushes to get a bit more seeds so I could expand the farm a little bit further. But then I was attacked out of nowhere by this zombie who tried to push me in the lava, but I returned the favour and pushed him in. Nice try, mate. I went back to the trial chamber because I need to get some more tough brick again. But then I was attacked by another breeze. These ones are annoying. Went into the trial chamber and got a bit more copper, but I was suddenly attacked by my arch nemesis, a baby zombie. Looks like there's a baby zombie spawner in here. I snuck around and got a bit more copper, hoping that they wouldn't see me. I then returned back to the base and continued work on the house again. Put a bit more copper down. And then I built some more copper pillars. And I wanted to make this as symmetrical as possible with a line of copper running right through the centre of the house. So I started work on a little walkway through and built that. I then started to build the next level of the house. And this would go right the way up to the roof. But out of nowhere, I don't even know where it came from. Quickly dodged out the way. Thank God for that, but he destroyed a little bit of my house. How cheeky. So I continued to build upwards. I then began building the roof to my little balcony around the top of the house. This design was just purely out of my head and imagination. I'm quite good with these builds. I don't really need any inspiration, I just sort of build from my own mind. And yeah, sometimes they turn out alright, sometimes they turn out pretty bad. I went to the farm and did a bit of farming. It was only a few bits of wheat grown, but it's better than nothing. Went back to the trial chamber, got some more resources from there again. Went back to the house, continued work on that. And it was coming together pretty nice now. It would just, of course, take a lot more resources than I even imagined. I decided to make the pillars look a little bit better by adding some stairs to the bottom of them to make them a bit more defined in 3D, which looked pretty cool. It was coming on nicely now from the bottom. I went back to the trial chamber so I can get a bit more tough yet again. I was getting quite low on tough, so I made a mistake. I backed down and this happened. Yeah, out of the woodwork came 2 little rats that tried to take me out. But luckily, I took them out with some precise hits, which is unusual for me because I can't really hit baby zombies. And then I continued work on the next pillars because I got some more stairs. Ended up doing all of the pillars with stairs too. And then the farm was going on pretty nice, so I went up there and got rid of most of the wheat up there. Hadn't fully grown, but at least I could finally make some bread because I was getting very low on food, as you can see. Made a chest as well because I was full of stuff. Went back to the trial chamber and got some more tough brick again. I then decided to try and fight some of the mobs in the trial chamber because it activated, so I thought I'd give it a go. I was feeling pretty confident. I decided to block them up and hopefully that would stop them spawning in so I can continue getting all the resources and ripping this place apart without even bothering me. I of course had to get some more copper and tough brick again. Lucky there was plenty to go around in these trial chambers. I went back to the base and started work on my first pillar to the roof. There'd be quite a few of these which end up taking a lot of bricks. And I just wanted to make it right away to the roof. I think it would look pretty cool once it's done. I'm sure you guys would agree. There we go. I used this water to get down safely as I was pretty high up. So high that I would die if I fell down. I then made the second pillar as well. And joined them both together. This is partly so I could get onto the water. And make my way down safely. And from below it looked pretty cool right away to the roof. So I went back to the farm, got a few more crops that have grown there. Couldn't let the whole thing grow because I had no resources. But I managed to find 5 eggs in the trial chamber. So I had 5 chances to get a chicken, and on the first egg I got one. Unbelievable. Would I get any more from the 4 remaining eggs? No. But I had 1 chicken. The good thing about chickens is they make eggs, so I only need 1 to procreate. I then went into the next cave and got bombarded by zombies, but it was worth it because there's some diamonds in here. Sweet, sweet diamonds. Quite a few of them too. I couldn't believe how many there were in these caves. I don't know if it's a thing to do with Java, but Bedrock's not usually this generous. I also found some more dirt, got that, and headed back to the farm and place that down so I could expand the farm because I didn't have a lot of dirt, of course. And I wanted it to be reasonably big. This would be big enough, I think. I don't want to block the lava up completely. Place some crops down. The chicken had grown up and laid an egg. Threw it, nothing came of it. This may take a while to get a secondary chicken, but I had plenty of food at this point, so I was alright. Went back to the trial chamber and got some more tough brick yet again. Really digging into the sides of it now. And I went into the next trial chamber and actually activated it. So I ran out like a little chicken. Got some more copper, went back to the chicken and they laid another egg as well. And unfortunately, there was not a chicken in that one either. I then continued work on the next set of pillars on the other side of the front of the house. This took quite a while to do as well. I had to get a bit more of this mine shaft out the way because that was sticking into the base a little bit, and continued work on the second pillar on this side. Built that to the roof, joined them both together, made my way down and began work on the next set of pillars on the next corner of the house. I wouldn't get too far this one because I ran out of resources again. Got another egg, nothing came of it. Went back into the trial chambers and you guessed it, dug some more tough. Came out, another egg had laid, no more chicken again. So I had to go and farm over at the wheat farm, which I managed to get a bit more wheat, but I was getting very low on food again. So I returned to the trial chambers, but another breeze came out and continued getting some more tough brick. Lucky there was so much in here. There wasn't so much copper, but I still had plenty more copper to mine. I would need a lot more of this, so I spent a decent chunk of time in there. Came outside and I was attacked immediately by a family of zombies. A dad and his 2 kids, and they almost ripped me apart. I barely survived this encounter. Once I dealt with the 2 kids, I was jumped by the dad out of nowhere. He left me on 1 heart of health. I managed to defeat him. Thank God for that. Whew.
Got him!
Went back to the farm, expanded it a bit more. I could then make a decent amount of bread because I literally had no food whatsoever, thankfully. And continued to work on the house and building the next pillar. Luckily I had plenty of resources to go around, and I'll get a decent amount of the house done this time. And should have all 4 sides of the house done. I mean, well, the pillars done. There's still a lot more to go. But at any moment I could have fallen off these pillars. I just made sure I was crouched the entire time. I just had one more pillar to do. Hopefully I'd have enough copper to do it. But I was running low again. I then began work filling in my pillars, as there was still a lot of empty space I needed to fill in, which I need to do on every side as well. First I started with this one. They would have a small gap in the middle. Did that one, and then I started work on the next one, which again used a ton of materials. But I was sticking to this plan. It was a very, very optimistic build. I mean, I really didn't need to go this mad. And then I was attacked by a zombie.
Hello, your computer has virus.
I went back to the trial chamber and yet again was attacked by 2 little baby zombies. I continued getting some more tough brick. I went deeper into the trial chamber where there were some skeletons. But then I was attacked by 2 at once and I got a bit scared, so I ran out of there like a chicken again.
Bye, have a
and
great
then
day.
left the trial chamber and this happened. Right, hopefully this chicken's laying in the egg now. And I can go. Oh, what the? Oh my god. Oh my god. Let's get the living daylights out of me. No chicken again. So I had to continue on the farm. And luckily by this point it had grown up quite a lot. So I had a lot of bread that I could make again. Couldn't expand the farm anymore because I couldn't find any more dirt. Went back to the house and started work on the next set of pillars. Did that one, and then I needed to start work on the next set. I mean, I still had a lot to do. But once this house is done, trust me, you're going to really like it, I hope. The chicken laid an egg again. Finally, let's see if I can get another chicken. And I got 4. I could not believe it when I got 4. I didn't even know this was a thing. I had to search it up. I thought it was some sort of glitch. But there is a slim chance that you can get 4 chickens out of 1 egg. It took me so long, about 10 throws, to even get another chicken. And then I get 4? Crazy. So I made a little coop and the chickens went a bit crazy. Some of them escaped. And then I went back to the trial chamber to get a bit more copper and tough brick again. And I returned back to base and I was attacked by a skeleton who was not taking no for an answer. He ran back up again. The creeper dropped out of nowhere.
Hello, cutie
But
pie.
I thought it was going to kill him, but it didn't. It dropped me down to 4 hearts of health. The little chicken farm was coming on nice, so I made it a little bit bigger. And then I returned back to the house so I could start work on the next corner of the house and building that right up to the roof as well. I had myself plenty of tough brick and copper. Obviously not enough again, but hopefully enough for this side of the house. Easy peasy. It was coming on nice. And looking from down below, you can see that it's looking pretty cool. I mean, don't look at it from the side though. Saying that, I decided to finally start work on the side of the house and building the roof. It'll be a sloped stairway roof. While feeding the chickens, I got attacked by this butter-cladded skeleton who was absolutely destroying me, but I ran around the house and took him out from behind. And then continued work on the roof of the house. This is going to take a lot of tough stairs. I wasn't going to build the entire roof all the way to the roof of the cave, as that was going to take forever. Chickens were coming on nice, so I decided to continue mating them. Don't question the family relations. I then went down to the trial chambers so I could get a bit more tough brick again. I was ripping this place to pieces. I mean, I didn't know how there's so many bricks. Came outside and I could mate the chickens again. Went back to the house and you guessed it, continued to work on the roof. I'll do one side at a time, so I still wasn't completely sure on the design I was going with yet. It was just a trial and error, so to speak, as I made my way along. Slowly but surely I completed this side of the roof and made it to the middle. I wasn't going to build them up and join them. I had a little idea for the centre of the house, which I will show you later. It's going to look pretty cool. And from the side profile, the house looked really good as well. So I was happy with my little stairway slope roof. So I went back to the trial chamber and gathered a bunch more tough brick so I could start work on the other side. Got to do all again now. Even broke my pickaxe. Got enough brick though. And firstly I wanted to fill in these pillars from behind, as I wanted them to not look so two-dimensional. I wasn't going to build the roof all the way to the back of them. I then continued work on the other side of the roof. And then I realised something. It wasn't quite symmetrical. It was one block out, which really annoyed the hell out of me. I could not deal with that. So I had to deconstruct this side of the pillar and rebuild it so it was symmetrical. And you'll notice something. The copper doesn't align up with the other side, which I didn't realise at that point, but when I do you'll see, because I didn't like that either. Then I realised it. The copper does not align.
You serious?
So I had to rebuild that as well. But firstly I got rid of the stalactite in the middle of the house, as that was going to get in the way of my design for it, and from beneath it was the monster, the house. Didn't really need to be this big for one person, did it? But it was pretty cool. I was enjoying it. The thing I enjoy most in Minecraft is building things anyway. So I went back to the trial chamber and I, of course, had got myself a more tough brick. Then I went back to the house and continued work on the behind of the pillars. These would be one big wall that would just go to the roof. I could have put more copper in them, but I kind of cheated here and just went with a tough brick to make my life a little bit easier. Finished that side and continued work on the other side. I'd do this 4 times as well. And then continued mating my little farm of chickens. Had quite a few of them now. Went back to the trial chamber to get some more tough brick. But I reached so much tough brick from that area that I had to start work on the next section of the trial chamber, as I was running out in this room. So I went to the chickens, mated them again. I'm going to have thousands of chickens and they're all going to stay in this little tiny coop. I then continued work on the pillars. This took quite a lot of brick because yeah, it was a few blocks high, as you can imagine. I then decided to finally make my roof symmetrical and actually align the copper, because it was time to actually join both sides of the roof together. So I had to deconstruct this side of the roof and rebuild it. It was looking pretty dark on my roof, so I made sure that I was going to place some torches, because I can't stand these mobs jumping on me out of nowhere like some sort of wrestling match. So then I went back to the chickens, continued mating them. I want my KFC. I went back to the trial chamber so I could get some more tough brick, because yes, I needed more to build the final pillar, which I began work on when I got back. And this one wasn't too high actually, so it didn't take too much brick. And the actual roof of the cave came in, so it got very narrow at the top. So then I decided to join each side of the roof with the copper. Made them a little bit narrower, because you'll see I have a grand idea for the middle. Now, I would love to fill it with glass, but I don't have any, and I'm not going to be able to find any because I need sand to build glass. And then right in the middle of the house, I wanted to make one final pillar, and this one would be completely made out of copper. And at the top of it would have something running down, but I ran out of copper. So then on my way to the trial chamber again, I mated all the chickens. My farm was completely overgrown at this point, so I went over there and sorted that out first. And replanted all the seeds. I mean, I had enough chickens, but it's also good to have all this bread too. Went back to the trial chambers, and I was running out of copper at this point, so I had to start digging some copper at the next trial chamber. Once I got all my resources out there again, I went back out and mated all the chickens again. I then made the classic mistake of getting some lava but having a full inventory, so the lava bucket went into the lava burnt. Anyway, I still had a couple of buckets because I had a little grand idea for this this lava. Not what you think. I continued work on the final spire in the middle of the house, and then I placed the lava above my house and then let it run down through. Yeah, this was my cool design. I wanted lava running right through the center of my house like some sort of ancient forge. Yeah, I thought it was a really cool design, and I'm really happy with it. So then I finally could start work on the interior of my house. First I had to build a staircase up into it, but this of course had to be symmetrical, so I wasn't happy with just having one staircase. But I wanted to make the floor out of wood. I know it didn't really fit in, but it'd look a bit more warm and homely if I used wood instead of just more tough brick. Yeah, it doesn't really suit it, but it's alright. Then I had to build, of course, the next staircase opposite because it had to be symmetrical, and continued filling in the floor. This would be my living floor, but I soon found out why I shouldn't be using wood when the house caught alight. Yeah, I built it too close to the fire and lava, and then dug out this side as this tuff was a bit too high, so I wanted it all to be wood up here. And then continued mating the chickens. At this point it was getting a bit ridiculous, but there's still a lot more to go. I then filled in a bit more of my house, as inside it was looking a bit empty and incomplete, so I wanted to make the windows a bit smaller because of course I couldn't make glass, so I wanted to make that a bit less noticeable. I then started work on my little central furnace, but then again I built a bit too close. Of course everything had to be symmetrical, so I needed two of everything. I then made a bunch of chests so I could start making my chest room. Well, not really a chest room, the chests would just be all over the place in this part of the house. And I think I built a little bit too many of them. I then decided to start sorting out my chests, as I had one big chest and then a big mess. Of course I wanted to make item frames for this so I could organise them. Then again I had no leather. I just had to remember where all my stuff was and what chest it was in, which didn't really bother me too much. I made a second bed so I could make that more symmetrical. And I thought finally I should get rid of some of these chickens because they were so loud and annoying. So I killed a bunch of the chickens, well most of them really, and started from the beginning. I think I got about 100 odd chickens out of this. I then started to cook the chickens in a regular furnace, but realised that I should be able to make a smoker, which I then did, so I could cook food faster than that. I made 2 smokers, a bit on each side, and then I realised my house was on fire again. Somehow these fences were still too close to the lava, so I had to get rid of them, as I didn't want to come back and my whole house would be burnt down. Well, just the inside of course. I then decided to make myself a full set of diamond armour. I also wanted to make some arrows because I wanted to go to the trial chamber and finally complete it. But I found it pretty hard to get any flint out of this gravel. I mean, it took quite a while, but I managed to get some, which was good, so I could make a decent amount of arrows for my bow. And then I went into the trial chambers ready to complete it and kill all the mobs. Then the baby zombies spawned in again and I panicked. I was like a lumbering giant compared to these, and I couldn't hit them for absolutely nothing. And eventually I killed them. A full-cladded golden zombie was down there, so I shot him in from a distance and took out these zombies too, and then got a really rubbish loot.
You serious?
These trial chambers don't really give you any good loot. And then moved my way into the second area of the trial chamber.
Why are you gay?
And soon found out that there was definitely a skeleton spawner here, amongst lots of other spawners, mainly baby zombie spawners, which I got attacked by 2, and they almost took me out. I quickly ran down the ladder and quickly got out of there because I was not prepared for that. Healed myself, went back in and took out the baby zombies very carefully. Got another key, turned the corner and realised there was another skeleton spawner, so I had to take them out as well. Then found another area of the trial chamber and someone came running at me at top speed down the hallway. Well, I was prepared for him and managed to kill him without him even hitting me. I then went into the next area and I was absolutely bombarded by arrows from all of these strafing and wall-peeking skeletons. I'd never seen such skillful skeletons before. They almost killed me. I had to run off. Eventually I did manage to take them all out and get the loot within, but again it was pretty rubbish. And then took out the breezes and this room was pretty much done. But I did manage to find a diamond and a cake and a block of iron, so that's something half decent, I suppose.
Wow.
Made my way out, killed a baby zombie on the way out, don't know where he came from. Got some of my logs. I have plenty of logs still, because I wanted to cook these and make some charcoal so I can make some more torches. I then wanted to explore some more caves around here, and I wanted to obviously get some obsidian so I can finally head to the Nether soon. Made my way down to this cave. And of course found some obsidian. Had to make a diamond pickaxe though for the first time, which of course I had no problem with because I needed one anyway. And mined away some obsidian for a bit until I got enough obsidian to make a portal. But I also managed to find some diamonds down here too. Quite a few of them at that. But the locals were not happy with me stealing all their diamonds, and they had something to say about it.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Found some more diamonds as well, so it was worth it in the end. Well, I made my way out of the cave with all the loot, but they were not having it. They were not happy I stole all those diamonds, and they were putting up a fight. But I did manage to come victorious, and I headed down into the next cave. Well, I tried to, but then something was coming up the water as I was going down, and I quickly went back up and took out a few of the mobs from a distance because there was a lot of them down there. But I decided, you know what, I'm going down there, I don't care. Took them all out. They stood up a little bit of a fight and there was plenty of them still, but luckily none of them were behind me. But I'm glad I came down here because there was a lot of diamonds down here too. I went back up and fed the chickens and then decided to get rid of all this water because it was getting on my nerves. All over the place like this. So I did this to all the little waterfalls that came down from the top. I decided to stop them from spilling all this water all over the place. I then went inside and got all my gravel so I could hopefully find some flint and make it flint and steel. Yeah, it took me a whole stack and then I eventually got one so I could finally make it flint and steel and head to the Nether. But firstly I wanted to make the Nether portal down here, but I wasn't happy with it, so of course I wanted to make it finished first before I actually placed my Nether portal down. And to do this I need to get more tuff and copper of course, so I headed back into the trial chamber and got some more of that. I then went back to the base and started work on the foundation of the basement of the house, which is where the Nether portal would be. I then decided to place the Nether portal and build it, and somehow I made a mistake.
Serious?
I do not know how to build a Nether portal for all this time. Built some copper pillars around it, which made it look pretty cool, and filled it in with tough brick. Built some more copper pillars to add more definition to the house, which looked pretty cool. Added a bit more copper to the stairs. Built myself a golden helmet, ready to go in the Nether, and I hopped inside. Here we go. And I'd made it into the Nether. Pretty rubbish spawn, surrounded by lava, but there was a weeping forest here, which is just what I wanted. One of the things I wanted, of course, so I could get some ender pearls. And then covered up the ender portal, so it wouldn't get destroyed by gas. And then found some quartz, which is really good for XP, so I got some of that. And then went to the weeping forest, of course, so I could get some endermen, because they always spawn here. Made myself a little height restricted hut so the endermen could not get in, and started to farm some of the endermans. Made myself a bit of more of a substantial little mushroom, and eventually I got my first ender pearl. But this would take quite a long process because they don't always drop them. In fact, most of the time they don't. Eventually I did manage to get 16, but it took me forever. And then I needed to go and find a fortress so I could get some blaze rods. So I searched around for quite a while before I even came across a fortress, which is quite good actually, because sometimes it takes me absolutely days to find it. And the good thing was there was already blazes here, so I found a blaze spawner too. I just had to make my way down into it because it was very low down. So I started tunneling through and digging my way down when I suddenly found out a hole and straight onto the Nether fortress and almost died. I quickly ran off and made myself a little hole so I could recover. And then once I recovered, I headed down to the blaze spawner so I could get some blaze rods. And I needed about 8 of these so I could make 16 Eyes of Ender, of course. These would also be quite a rare drop. They don't always drop the blaze rods, so I did spend quite a bit of time here, but I did get overwhelmed and almost died. They got me down to a heart and a half. Thankfully I stopped burning and headed down to my little recovery cover hole. And once I recovered I went back, but I was being bombarded, so I had to go back again and recover. But then I ran into the loving arms of a wither skeleton and had to run the other way and made a little height restricted tunnel so he can get me. And I then went back to the spawner and took out some more blazes. And eventually I managed to get quite a few blaze rods, and 8 in total, which is just the amount I needed. I decided to get out of there because I was getting overwhelmed. I mean, there was so many of them. And I wanted to explore the fortress a bit more to see if I could find some half decent loot. And I found some alright loot. I mean, it wasn't brilliant. Plenty of horse armor. Not that I'm ever going to see a horse in this playthrough of Minecraft. But I also found 1 diamond, which wasn't too bad. I then got hit by a wither skeleton.
Hi, how are you?
To be honest with you, there wasn't that many spawning in here. Sometimes you get absolutely overwhelmed by mobs in the fortress. But apart from him, I was alright. I then left the fortress and I wanted to find a bastion. And it took me a couple of days before I found one of those, so I could see what loot I could get in there. And it was a bit of a challenge for me. Well, not really. I was just picking the pigs away from a distance, and they didn't even realise who was shooting them. Thankfully, I killed most of them there, but I had to because the brutes are so strong. I mean, look how many arrows they take. And they only need to hit you twice and you're dead. They do 4 hearts of damage. I then made my way into their little base and found some chests with some really decent loot in, much better than the fortress. Even found an efficiency 5 diamond pickaxe.
Wow.
I then gathered all this XP from all the pigs I killed. That was looted, so I decided to head down deeper into the bastion where most of the pigs were, and took them out from a distance, but they looked very similar, of course, from a distance to the zombie pigmen, and I did not want to hit them. I did manage to get spotted by a brute and quickly ran off and into the loving arms of more piglin, but I went into a little hole and hid until they de-aggroed, went back on the roof and took them out all from above again. Slowly but surely, this is the way to do it. I'm not taking any risks going down there myself. I've been absolutely overwhelmed by piglets. Then found another chest with some decent loot in it as well. I then ran into a brute, but of course he couldn't hit me, but he took plenty of hits from my sword. Then found another chest with plenty of arrows. And another one. And that was it. To be honest with you, the loot wasn't that good. I tried to eat, but then I ended up shooting one of my ender pearls, which wasted that. Decided to make my way out of the Nether. I had enough. Let's get out of here. Returned back home and made my Eyes of Ender. And I can make 15 of them. I should have been able to make 16, but of course I mucked that up. Made an anvil, but I had to place it somewhere symmetrical, of course, which there wasn't anywhere. So I decided to make my own little forge area here, because I need to repair my boots, you see, and I wanted to put an enchantment on them. Soul speed 1, better than nothing, I suppose, because I won't be able to make an enchantment table anytime soon, or a library. All my crops are grown by this point, so I decided to go and sort all those out, and also give the chickens some love. I then decided to make a more substantial entrance to the trial chamber, because I was going to be going in and out of there every 5 minutes again. Because this time I wanted to get some more copper, but a different copper block. This was going to be used on my path, but then I was absolutely caught off guard because a bunch of skeletons were in here now. So I had to take them out. I continued gathering some more tuff and copper. There's still plenty to go around here, surprisingly. Just wanted to finish off my basement. There was still quite a bit more to do down here. So I began digging out all this deep slate from my basement so I can then fill it up with some of this lovely copper and of course more tough brick. But then the pillars did not align with the ground, so I had to sort those out as well. Firstly, I filled in the tough brick. All the bricks I just mined out, and then went to the chickens and mated them. The chicken farm was coming on pretty good again. And then also brand the pillars down to the next level. This involved just removing the stairs and just placing them lower so they actually went on the floor again. I then continued taking some of this deep slate up so I could replace it with tough brick. Did the last little side of my basement. I then got some tough brick wall so I could just, you know, make it look a bit more defined in 3D. Also decided to add a bit more definition to the stairs as well, and they were looking pretty cool now. And my whole basement I was really happy with it. It's pretty sick. But then I wanted to start work on my little walkway around the house. This would of course all be filled in with all of that copper I got. But firstly I had to of course dig the path for it. And initially I digged this all the way to the farm, and then I filled it in with all of my copper, which looked pretty cool. But I wanted to also build a copper path the other side of the house, and this one would lead up to the trial chamber. Whilst I was here I decided to feed the chickens again, and then went back into the trial chamber so I could get some more resources to dig some copper stairs, as I needed those soon as well. I then realised there was a whole nother section of the trial chamber that I missed. So I went up there and guess what? There was more baby zombie spawners. They absolutely bombarded me. And I was getting pretty overwhelmed. But this time I had an idea. I realised that these baby zombies could not climb. So I ran off and quickly went on to these hanging vines where they couldn't hit me. So what I did was I hung on the hanging vines from a distance and took them out, which was easy. I don't know why I didn't do this to start with. The little buggers can't even reach me. I definitely covered up that spawner and then activated the next one, which is a bunch of these zombies. I can't even remember the name of them, husks I think. And then activate the next spawner, which was, you guessed it, another baby zombie spawner. So I'd take those out from a distance as well. Covered up that spawner. And I'm pretty sure that's all the spawners done. Thankfully, at last it's over. And then went up into the last little room of the trial chamber to see if there's anything up there. And what I found really surprised me. I couldn't believe it. There was a tree up here. Wow. This would be great because if I managed to get a sapling from this, I could finally grow some trees out my house, which would look pretty sick. And this is what I meant. If I found a trial chamber, I would also be able to find some wood. I mean, not as much as the actual mine shaft, but got some more loot, got discs, and then began stripping away at the trial chamber, taking most of its steps, as I would need those too soon. And then got rid of all of the tree, and thank God one sapling dropped from it. One sapling. It's better than nothing, but I wanted two. Then I decided to place my tree down and use some bone meal to make it grow. And look at that. Voila, I had a tree at last. Beautiful. I wanted to put some tuff around the side of my path, so I dug that out a bit more and filled that in with some tough brick as well. And thought that would look pretty cool too. So I did all that, filled that in, and then I moved on to the farm because it was a bit of an eyesore, so I decided to put a wall around that as well to make it look a bit more presentable. I wasn't going to expand it any more than it was anyway because I had the chicken farm now, which is a lot easier to deal with. But this tree was a bit close to the lava, so I decided to get rid of it and just hoped I might get another sapling from it, or two, but I only got one again. Risky, I know. So I'll leave this tree here for now. But then I decided I wanted to build a bit more in front of the house here. It's a bit empty. So I started work on another path to join up with the other one around the other side of the house, but I wanted to make a little court side of this one. So I began getting rid of some of this deep slate I then made a little symmetrical circle in the middle, which would be the little courtyard. I sort of wanted to make a fountain, but I decided against that and had a little other idea in my head, which I would get on with later on in the game. But for now, I'll leave it like this, and I thought it looked pretty cool. And then I continued the copper path around the house, hoping to join it up with the other one, but I ran out of copper bricks again. But I had some more tuff, so I filled that up. And I got some walls, so I decided to make the path a bit more defined with some walls. And the same with the courtyard. I then returned to the trial chamber, because I needed to get some more stuff, of course. I got some more stairs, got some more tuff, and especially I needed some more copper. So I got all that again. Then returned back to the base, but as I was building the walkway, the sound of the chickens was driving me mad, so I had to kill them. Something in me snapped. I snapped and I just had to take them out. I'm sorry. I couldn't do nothing about it. It was just a noise. It haunts me to this day. Anyway, I continued the path around the house, filling that in with copper and also pitting some tough brick around the side. Luckily I had enough this time so I can complete the path and join them all together. And this time, would I run out of tough bricks? Place your bets. But while digging, I managed to find some diamonds, which is pretty cool. And quite a few of them as well. Just hidden one block below the surface. And then filled in the sides with tough brick as well. But I had enough of these water fountains. They didn't look really good anymore. Or waterfalls. I wanted to fill them in with tough brick as well, to make them look a little bit better, which was a bit annoying because every time I destroyed them they would go and put out my torches, and I had quite a few of these to do, just to make it look a little bit better. But I did like the water running down. I wasn't going to stop it. It did look pretty cool, and the tropical fish would drop down. I had like a quite a good idea in mind. I wanted to make a little moat around my house. I decided to build a little embankment around this side of my walkway, because I wanted to start making a moat. So I dug a lot of this deep slate away to make it a little bit deeper here, and then got a bucket and started filling in the moat. And hopefully this would run all the way around the house, and the fish could run free around the house instead of just keep dropping and dying and just trying to climb the water but then keep falling again. I used more lava buckets for fuel. Don't know why I wasn't doing this sooner, because I need to make some more torches, because I ran out of torches and it was still pretty dark around the cave. I also got some more brick walls, so I could put a brick wall on the balcony of the house. I got the torches and started just placing them around in random locations, making it just a little bit more brighter, as I didn't want any mobs spawning in and taking me out from behind. And I continued work on the courtyard, but then found out that a load of gravel had somehow dropped from this roof. I don't know what disturbed it, and straight onto my path. But first I wanted to get rid of this pile of gravel, because I wanted to do something with the lava. I wanted to, I had a cool little idea in mind, which let's something to do with the courtyard. You'll see once it's done. It looks pretty cool. But I need to get rid of all this tough brick first, and then dig down into the well in the courtyard, and I decided to run the lava down through the middle. Yeah, but of course there wasn't much in there, so I had to get a bucket worth or two and fill it up a little bit. And then I had to repair my pickaxe because it was almost broken. And some tropical fish had actually come down from the top and were using my moat, which was pretty cool. Some were still dying, but still stopped that. They weren't fully joined all the way around the moat, so I had to dig out underneath the walkways and just make them fully navigable for the fish. But this side of the house and the moat wasn't completed yet, so I decided to start work on that so they could get all the way around. So I had to dig out all of this deep slate and some of my pillars. Found some more diamonds though, which is cool, and continued digging out this moat. I got rid of the running water down and just made them run straight into the moat. Got a few buckets worth of water and tried to join the moats up and make the water a bit more stable, as it was all over the place. It looked a bit messy. But But then I soon realised that I actually flooded the basement of my house somehow. So I had to try and stop that from happening as well. The water went over the top of the walls, which I didn't even know it could do. I just had to complete the last little bit of the moat here. And the fish could swim all the way around, which would be cool. And there we go. It was fully navigable to the fish. And they were loving it. Absolutely loving it. I wanted to get a little newt to put in there, and I tried to catch the slimy bugger, but he was all over the place, and eventually I did get him. He turned pink, I don't know why. I thought I could place some lily pads down here, but I couldn't. I placed me pink newt in, which then turned yellow again, and I decided to make the walkway to the trial chamber a little bit more presentable, so I put some copper stairs in there as well, and made like a nice little entrance to it. I wanted to get rid of this copper that fell on the path randomly, so I got rid of that. And I also made the courtyard a little bit more safe. I didn't want to accidentally walk into the hole and die in the lava. That would be pretty funny, but yeah, no thanks, not this deep in the game. I then went back to the trial chamber and got myself some more tough brick, of course, because I still had a few projects in mind. And mainly to do with this lava. It was looking pretty ugly. I wanted to make it more direct, like a man-made feature to do with the forge. I'm going to call it my base, the forge. And I wanted to make the lava like it was a bit more directed in the way towards the courtyard. So I built one side of the wall, which looked pretty cool, and then I fell in the lava. But quick thinking managed to put me out, and then decided to build the other side of the wall. But I definitely was a bit more careful. Didn't want to fall in that lava and not be able to get out. So I'm risking it a bit here, wasn't I? I then stopped this lava from falling out. And then I was attacked by a zombie, but I pushed him in the lava. Sorry, mate. And yeah, it looked pretty cool. My little lava waterfall that ran into the courtyard. I was pretty happy with that. And from the top of the lava waterfall, the house looks absolutely sick. And I was so proud of myself. I mean, it took ages to build this house, but it did turn out pretty cool, which I was happy with. But then I soon realised that these fish were still dying. Some of them were still falling, and so I had to make the moat a little bit deeper and wider on this side. So hopefully not all of them would fall down here and die. And then was attacked by a slime who fell into my moat.
I'm under the water. Please help me.
Lava.
My name is Jeff.
And then discovered a piggy came out of the Nether portal. And I knew the perfect name for it. It looked like a pepper to me. I then gathered all my valuables because it was time to finally leave home and make my way toward the end portal. I know it was pretty early, but I wanted to enchant a lot of my stuff first, which would take up a lot of time. So I wanted to cook all this chicken and get as much food as I possibly could ready for the adventure. And at last, on day 77, I left the house and threw my first Eye of Ender, which sent me in this direction. And because I threw the Ender Pearl earlier, I wanted to get another one back. So I made a silly decision to try and attack this Enderman, which did not really end well and very nearly killed me. It was a bit of a mistake, one that I will not be making again. He took me down to a heart and a half. I cannot believe I almost died to that, and this close to home. I then continued on my way to try and find the Ender Portal. The only trouble is with doing it in a cave, obviously they get stuck in the wall, they fly through the walls and you can't get them back, which is really annoying. And I would love to do this above ground, and of course I can, and this was one of the main challenges to this 100-day survival challenge. It would be extremely hard for me to find the end, and this is why I wanted to get 16 Eyes of Ender. Mined my way into another cave. There was lots of mobs here though, but as long as I found big enough caves, eventually I should be able to come across the Ender Portal by throwing the Eyes of Ender. I was then double teamed by 2 skeletons who I managed to take out in the end. I hate skeletons, they're so annoying. I eventually made my way up further into the cave. I was getting pretty high at this point, but the Eyes of Ender were taking me up this way. I was then snuck attacked by a creeper, as you can tell, really scared the hell out of me. I found a bunch of loot here, which I mined, but I almost got blew up by a creeper. Thankfully I put my shield down, and then lost another Eye of Ender in the wall. I tried to get it back, but I couldn't. So I just dagged this way until I found another massive dark cave. Made my way along that and through another Eye of Ender, which took me in this direction, which was brilliant. I then actually saw the sky. I didn't see the sky until I didn't see the light until I was a young man. By then, it was nothing to me but blinding. So I headed back into the cave, of course. And I found this massive cave after a little while. I was searching and through the Eye of Ender, and it took me in this general direction. Very dark in there though, but I descended down to the bottom level because I found some diamonds down here. But the locals weren't very happy, of course, about me taking all their diamonds, so I had to take them out. Made my way over to this side of the cave through another Eye of Ender, and it took me in this general direction as well. I went over to this corner and the Eye of Ender went completely behind me, so it's telling me definitely in this direction. So I climbed up to the top. I found this little cave area and I heard a familiar noise, one that you would only hear near the end, and it was silverfish. I couldn't believe it, so I dagged towards the noise, and soon enough, what do you know, I came across it. And not only the stronghold, but the actual portal itself. But immediately I was attacked by a bombardment of silverfish. I mean, they were relentless. And this would not be the worst of them. They were coming out of every nook and cranny. I did not realise that they were this bad. When I took a look at the ender portal, I could not believe it. There was not one Eye of Ender in there.
Oh, hell no!
And I only had 5. I couldn't believe it. What luck is that? Not one eye! It was easy to find the ender portal and I got lucky finding it, but now I would have to go back into the Nether to get some more ender pearls. Not only that though, the ender portal was separate. There was no way out. So even when I found the stronghold, I wouldn't be able to find this unless I dug through the walls. And so I had to get myself some more obsidian, of course, to build another ender portal. And luckily there was just enough lava in here to do that, and I had a bucket of water. So I started digging out the obsidian, but I was attacked by a bunch of silverfish, and there was even one below me, which made me go into a hole, and then they just kept piling in and attacking me and biting me and chipping away at me. One by one, more and more. Every time I killed one, another one would come, and it was slowly chipping away at my health bar, and I was getting lower and lower, and at this point I was panicking. I thought, oh my god, what am I going to do? They almost killed me. So I literally, the last thing I did was quit the game. I thought, if I quit the game and I joined back, I might have a few seconds, and I did. I had a few seconds to just take a golden carrot. And I tried to attack them, but I knew that wasn't going to work, so I had to run out of there. And luckily I did. If I did not quit the game, then I would have died for sure. So I went out of there and I built my Nether portal outside of the stronghold, of course. And then before I wanted to go in the Nether, I wanted to actually find the library. And it was in here somewhere, and sure enough I dug through this deep slate and I did come across the rest of the trial chamber. I got some water here, and then eventually I found the library, which wasn't too hard to find actually. But of course I needed to make myself an enchantment table, so I had to go back to the stronghold so I could, well, I was in the stronghold, wasn't I? At the portal, so I could get some more obsidian. I found some decent enchantment books, made an enchantment table, and placed it down, but I needed to get some more books, of course, and reconstruct the library into a more appropriate enchantment room. So I mined away those, but luckily I brought some wood with me so I could reconstruct them. So that's just what I did. Made a decent enough enchantment room so I could get level 30 enchantments, and enchanted my sword and got a really decent enchantment on it.
Wow.
And then enchanted my bow as well. I wanted to get infinity on it, but unfortunately I only got power 4. enchanted my chest plate, and by the time I did that, I was below 30 XP, so at this point I had to go into the Nether, but I needed to go in there of course to get some more ender pearls. So I lit the Nether up and went inside, but this time I was actually at lava level, and what I needed to do was of course to protect the ender portal, and luckily I did have some deep state with me, so I could build up a little shield for that. So that's what I did straight away. Then lit myself on fire somehow and waited to recover, and then seen some lava come down beside me. But it wasn't until I looked out I found out how lucky I was. The lava had dropped right on top of the Nether portal, and if I had not protected it, then I probably would have been dead. So I decided to leave the Nether portal and head up into the Nether, and along the way I mined every single piece of quartz I could possibly find, because I wanted to get up to about 40 XP to being able to enchant all my armor. Then I came across this gas, and we were both struggling to hit each other. It was quite embarrassing to be honest, so I just dipped. I had enough of it, wasting all my arrows on him. Eventually I did come across the Weeping Forest, and made my way inside and set up a little base where the Enderman could not get in, and I just started staring them in the eyes. I know, rude. Did your mother ever tell you not to stare? That's what they were telling me. But I only needed 6 Eyes of Ender, thankfully, for the Ender portal. But this still took quite a bit of time, because they don't drop them very often, and sometimes it's hard to find, so I went searching around for ages to try and find some more. And eventually I found another one. I only had 1 ender pearl at this point, so it took me quite a while to get some more, but eventually I had 5. I just needed 1 more, but they were really not giving me it. This last ender pearl. Eventually the last one, here we go. I actually got myself the last ender pearl I needed at last. It took me ages. So on the way back I made my way back to the portal, but on the way I mined every single bit of quartz I could possibly find. I spent quite a while doing this because I needed to get 40 XP of course. Came across another gas. It was absolutely destroyed this time. It was embarrassing for him.
Tango down.
And then I made my way back to the Nether portal with 41 XP. Set myself alight again, but went out of there, made my Eyes of Ender, made some new set of diamond armor because my old diamond armor was absolutely knackered at this point, and I wanted to enchant this set. Got a really rubbish enchantment on my leggings, and I wasn't getting too good of enchantments, annoyingly. So I decided to make another set of leggings. I might as well. I got plenty of diamonds and plenty of XP, so I enchanted them and got a little bit more of a better enchantment than my last set, which was better than nothing, protection 4. I then made my way back to the portal. Firstly I wanted to explore a bit more of the stronghold and found this chest with some coin, and that was about it really. And the only trouble was I needed some more water. I had plenty of buckets, but only a couple of buckets of water. I needed more just in case inside the end. So I had to make my way back into the cave, and the mobs gave me one last battle. But I took them out with ease with my new enchantments, thankfully, and this epic fire aspect sword. And then I found some more diamonds, which are cool, that I missed before. And then made my way over to the only waterfall I could see, and it went up and up and up for ages before I found the source of it. I could finally get myself another bucket of water. Then missed some more diamonds, so I got some more. Not that I would need any more diamonds at this point. I was then bombarded by another apocalypse of zombies, but they were pretty easy. And then found this invisible spider.
Hello there.
Who was on fire, and found a spider spawner, which was pretty decent. Made myself a new shield and prepared to go into the end. Firstly I wanted to enchant my pickaxe. Efficiency 3, not too bad. I put the remaining Eyes of Ender into the Ender Pearl, and it lit up with a thud. And I jumped in. Here we go. Time to defeat the Ender Dragon. I spawned out here in the middle of nowhere, so I had to pillar my way over. Luckily I took quite a decent amount of bricks with me, but In retrospect, it was not enough, and I didn't have infinity on my bow and only a couple of stacks of arrows, so I had to be careful with those too. I straight away made my way to the first pillar, placed some water down in case I got knocked off, started pillaring my way up, destroyed the first one, jumped down, gathered my water, made my way over to the next pillar, climbed that one to the top, took that one out, jumped down, and I did attempt to take the next ones out with bow and arrows, but because the dead zone's so rubbish on this controller mod, I couldn't do it, so I had to climb up. I got hit by some dragon breath and fell down. This is why I had the water here. Somehow I looked at a enderman though. I got hit by more dragon breath, but the enderman was after me. I panicked and placed water down, and luckily he couldn't attack me, but I was getting pretty low on health at this point, so I needed to take a golden carrot just in case. And I was absolutely panicking. I was all over the place, and I was just a moment before I got hit by another dragon's breath. I tried to dig down, but I panicked and hit the enderman, and that killed him. I then made my way up to the next pillar. This one was pretty tall, took that one out, made my way down to the bottom, but at this point I was getting pretty low on bricks, so I had to dig some more right in the middle of the battle so I could pillar up to the next one. Took that one out. I then had to use my wood reserves, which I had, luckily. Took the next one out, made my way down, made my way up the next one, but I got knocked off and very nearly died. Wow, that was close. So I then made my way up again, took it out, took out another one, and there we go. I took out the last one, but I was on a heart and a half of health. So I took another golden carrot, and then I took out the last pillar and jumped down and just started to chip away at the ender dragon. Thanks to my power 4 bow, it was doing a decent amount of damage, but I didn't have many arrows left. I had to be very conservative with my shots. Doesn't really look like that with the footage though, does it? In the end, I ended up just waiting and playing the long game and waiting for him to drop down and spin around in circles, so I could hit him a bit easier. He was killing loads of endermen, so I was just picking up their ender pearls as I'll need those later. But I'd only really shoot him at this point when he would come down low. I almost took him out. I just needed one more arrow, but he landed, so I had to wait ages, and he was just staying there, and I couldn't attack him with melee. So I just had to wait ages, and I thought he was glitched. But eventually he did actually move, and I could actually shoot him again. But he threw me. Thankfully not very far, but he just needed a couple more arrows and that would be it. 1 and 2 and he was dead. He span round and exploded in a ball of glory. At last I killed the ender dragon on day 93 and gathered all the XP that unfortunately I could not use because I only had 7 days left and all my gear is enchanted. I then had to get myself some more bricks so I could make my way up to the next portal that would take me to the end city. Made a little pillar up to that. Used every little block I had apart from the gold. I'm going to use that even though I'm not going to use it. And just took a risk by throwing a portal. And luckily I did not miss, because otherwise I would have been dead. I had to try and find the end city, and eventually I did find it. It took me quite a while. This one was pretty far away. But I got there, and this was the right one because it had the ship above. So I made my way inside and had to deal with these shockers, which were pretty annoying. Made my way up inside, and somehow I looked at an enderman. I really do not know how I looked at him, but I don't know where he was. He just attacked me out of nowhere, and proceeded to make my way up the tower. And they are quite useful, these shockers, if you want to float, but just hope you don't do it while you're outside and float to space, because that's when you're going to die. And then found the room with the chest in, and these usually have really decent looting. And I got 2 shovels, diamond shovels. Wow.
Wow.
Just what the doctor ordered. I then made my way up to the ship and took out the shockers from a distance, because otherwise, yeah, they would make me float to the abyss and to the moon, and I would definitely be dead without the elytra. So I took them out from a distance and pillared my way over. I ran out of bricks though, so I had to go back and get some more, annoyingly. But eventually I made it over to the ship, made it inside, and the elytra was in sight. Took out the last shocker, got the elytra, and got the loot out of the chest. Now this loot was half decent. Really good diamond chestplate, another really good iron chestplate. Carefully made my way over to the bow of the ship and got the dragon head. I'll be putting this baby on my wall. Make my way back down into the actual structure. There was another chest room I wanted to get into first before I left and get the loot out of that, which I eventually floated up to and got a really good pickaxe. Even feather falling 4 iron boots. So I put those on immediately just in case I would fly to the abyss and these might somehow save me. I then decided to make my way out and eventually back to the dragon area of the end. I had to get some more bricks though so I can make another pillar up. Shot another ender pearl and made my way back to the start of the end. And then jumped through the portal and completed the game. But we still had 3 more days. There was still a few little things I wanted to do first before we ended this run, and I still could die in those 3 days. You never know. I wanted somewhere to place my head, of course, but nowhere was symmetrical in here for one block, so I just placed it above my bed. Who cares? I then wanted to make an item frame for the elytra, but firstly I wanted to make some fireworks, but then I realised you need paper for fireworks, and there's no way I was going to be able to get paper. So unfortunately there would be no fireworks. I made a painting for some reason, because I couldn't make an item frame, because I had no leather, so I just decided to stick a random painting on the wall, but I couldn't find where to put it, so I just shoved it here as well. And then made my way up higher into the cave, so I could test the elytra manually by jumping off. And here we go, woo, yay, that's about it. Probably not the most appropriate piece of equipment for a cave-only world. And then decided to cook some cobblestone because I wanted to make some armor stands for my little forgery. Place those down and I put my spare sets of armor on them and the elytra because I would not be using that in here, of course. And I'd rather just have the chestplate on. I then decided to take a risk and get rid of this tree to see if I could actually expand the tree farm, because I wanted to have some more trees. I just didn't want to just have one tree. I wanted to have a little a group of trees, and I did manage to actually get 2 trees out of this one, which was brilliant. I used the bone meal to make them grow, and then once they grew I got rid of them again to see if I could get some more saplings. This time I actually managed to get 5 saplings, which was good, but I didn't really have much dirt. That was the only trouble. But this would look make my base look a little bit cooler with some trees underground. I decided to have one last challenge and go back into the trial chambers and kill a bunch of baby zombies. They didn't stand a chance against me now. I took those out with ease. But there was one last thing I was actually in here for, and that was to get some more tuff and some more copper for one last time. Yeah, I'm sorry guys. But there's one last thing I want to do with my base before I end this run, and that has to do with the lava pit here. I just want to make a nice little retaining wall for it, so I filled in with some tough bricks, and also wanted to put some copper pillars up around it, which once it's finished it looked pretty cool and I was actually happy with it. I think at last my base is complete. It can't look any better than it does. I really was happy with this base. But I decided to just fill in this little last bit with some tuff because I had some spare tuff, so I did that as well. And at last, here we are, we've finished. We've had the end of the game, we've survived 100 days Minecraft Hardcore in a cave-only world. I think at last we deserve to eat this cake, don't we? So I'm going to enjoy this whole cake to myself. It does last quite a while, so I probably would have to hurt myself to finish this cake, and I'm gonna have to fall in this lava, I think, just so I can damage myself. Can you imagine now I accidentally kill myself? That wouldn't be very good, would it, on day? Well, I survived 100 days, so I suppose I can die now if I wanted to. So yeah, anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video, guys. I really do appreciate you watching. If you stuck to the end, let me know in the comment section below, and let me know what you want to see next. I might make another island survival. I might make a regular 100-day survival, or I could even do another cave survival, but I don't really want to. I've just done this one, and they're pretty tough. So, yeah, that's about it. Hope you all enjoyed. Yeah, see you in the next one. All right, bye-bye.